Hey guys, welcome to the Black Box. This is my new channel where I'll be doing a lot of tech stuff, hopefully mostly project based, a lot involving, video games and stuff. But my first project here, I got a Xbox One controller, which I have painted up a little bit here. There's sort of the finished product. But we're going to get into the process of this. We'll start by showing the process of taking it apart, if you've never done that before. And then sort of just my technique of how I tried to make it look sort of gunmetal-y. So here I have the controller. We're just going to take it apart. Quick tutorial for those of you who haven't done it before. To start, you can just grab that back plate, pull out the batteries, and then there's going to be a screw underneath this sticker. There's a total of 5 screws, 2 in each handle, 1 under the sticker. Important to note that it will void your warranty when you actually break through the sticker, so just be aware of that if you're using a newer controller, that when you do this you're voiding your warranty. If something goes wrong with the controller later, you won't be able to get it replaced or return it. But beyond that, we can just start by pulling off these covers here. There's a groove along the edge of the controller. You can just stick your nails in there and really, you gotta pull pretty hard on it. Feels like it's gonna break, but it doesn't. There's just a lot of little hooks that hold on really tight, so that'll just snap right off. Same with the other side. And you're gonna need one of these star-shaped screwdrivers. You might not be able to use one of these screwdrivers because all of these screws usually have a little pin sticking up in the middle of them, so it'll prevent you from actually sticking a screwdriver into the screw. If that's the case, a good way to break those off is to use a small flathead, a very small flathead screwdriver, which you'll either be able to jam it in there in between the edge and the pin, or you'll just kind of be able to break off the pin entirely inside there, and then you'll be able to get your regular star-shaped screwdriver in there just fine. So that's what you can do for that. I've already taken this one apart, so I already broke off those little pins previously, mostly by an accident actually. Best, I think, to start out with just lifting off the front panel. Comes off real easy. Set that aside. Then the whole mechanism just pops out from there. Real easy. Just comes right out. Just like that. And then there we have the bottom of the chassis. Alright, so after considering my options a little bit with this, I think I'm just going to mask this off here, this little section, and then I'm going to just put it all back together with the plates here, and then just paint it like that. Just a little bit of context here. I actually have a extra coat of black over the whole thing because originally I was going to do some symbols on here. I was going to do a nice fade. I had this big plan. I had a bunch of footage. It was great until I totally botched the whole thing and it got ruined. But anyway, I decided that I would just do a basic gunmetal look. Okay, so I got myself some silverish spray paint here. It's a nickel, but I figure this will look a little more metallic even than just straight silver spray paint. I already gave this another layer, like I said, because I had to cover up all my botched stuff. But I might actually recommend putting on a layer of black over top of your old controller anyways, because it covers up any sort of little scuffs, any marks, scratches, and it gives the whole thing just a smoother look. All you're going to want to do to get that gunmetal finish, it's really simple. You're just going to want to take a paper towel. I got a shop towel here, same thing, whatever. If you got a rag, that's fine. And then just gonna give this a little spray. Try not to get it everywhere. Just gonna give it a spray here. Right, so it's kind of soaked a little bit. Gotta work pretty quick before it dries up, and then it won't do anything. You're gonna take your controller. I think we'll just start with the edges here because, you know, the edges is where it's gonna get, where the paint would get worn away first to show off the steel. And you're just gonna touch those edges. At the beginning it might look a little fake, but you sort of, as this cloth dries out, as the paint dries on the cloth, you're going to be able to rub it more and more on, more and more intensely, and you're going to get sort of a shinier, more faded in look. I would say the hardest part of getting it to look really natural is avoiding, you know, making it look streaky like this. It can be very difficult to make it look more smooth, like it was worn away over time rather than scuffed. However, that can be a look that you're going for in itself. This will by no means produce a perfect result. My recommendation to make it look as realistic as possible is to just try to get these edges really nice and solid, really nice and painted. Alternatively, for maybe a more bold look, you could get a more silver spray paint, because this one, it's more of a, it's nickel. If you want something a little more silvery, a little more flashy, you can just get straight silver. But it's not the worst product I've produced. It's very smeary, I will admit. But then again, it's not meant to be a very crisp look, so it's easy to kind of just do your best, and it'll turn out all right because it's meant to be rough, right? We'll give it a nice clear coat to strengthen that up to make sure that it's not scratching up too bad. Although that's not a major concern. Like I said, it's supposed to be a rough look already, but we'll give it a nice clear coat anyways. And then we'll throw everything back inside. Oh, you know what? Can't forget the back plate. Here we got a basic clear satin finish, nothing special. And I think we might do a couple coats of this since it is one of those items that, you know, you're picking up and using all the time, unless you're just planning to put it on display. I mean, whatever. The idea is that you'll be picking it up and using it a lot. So we might want to put a couple coats on just to account for that extra wearing from, you know, holding it and using it all the time. All right. Want to do it thick enough that it's not quite starting to pool. If it starts to pool, then you're going to end up with a weird thick patchy spots. Ends up all gross. Alright, so we're looking pretty tacky now. It's been, I don't know, not very long, only like 20 minutes. We're probably ready for another layer here. Alright, so here we are. It's been, oh gosh, not very long, but I'm impatient. It's mostly dry. Good enough. We can pick it up, we can move it around. Alright, so we are here with the finished product. I would recommend waiting probably more like an hour for it to dry, but I was in a bit of a rush, so I just kind of went for it after like 20-30 minutes. Still a tiny bit tacky if I leave it on the surface for a while. It kind of has a bit of a stick to it, but that's minor. So we're going to pop these side panels back off like we did at the beginning. Oh, it's tough. Don't want to damage the paint too much. Alright, it came off good. Do the other one. Oh, we gotta undo a couple of screws on here. Screwdriver. Getting all our tape off. Looks like we successfully kept this all nice and clean. So now we can simply just drop in our controller again as it was. And so for this next part, it's pretty difficult because there's a few things that you have to line up when you're putting it back in. If I can show you from the bottom, you have these two battery connectors which have to slide in through the case. But at the same time, you have to push down both of these triggers while it all slides together. It's easiest to do this from above. Your two battery bits are going to go through right here. One there and one there. So you're going to kind of line that up while holding the triggers. We'll dropping everything in straight. And then you can let go when you felt that there's no longer a gap between where this port is and where this plastic edge is. That should be nice and snug together. Now we can just throw on our faceplate, flip it over while being careful to hold everything together, and put in the screws. I recommend putting in the screw underneath the battery pack first, since that holds everything together, and then you can do both handles after easily. Alright, we got those screws in. Now we just pop the the handle plates back on. There's one, there's two. Put the batteries in. And then we can take our battery cover. There it is. Is it perfect? No, not at all. Things I would do differently, I would probably not do so much extra metallic in between on the blank spots. I think I would just try and do the edges of around where buttons are, around the joystick, on this front edge. This front edge I think turned out great. Alright, so final thoughts on this project. It was a lot of effort, but then again, I was gonna do a fancy thing. There was gonna be a little symbol here, symbol there, but I kind of botched the whole thing, and so I decided to sort of restart it. So I'm sure it would be like maybe like a couple-hour project, but I messed it up, so I had to redo it. But anyway, I think it turned out all right. Looks pretty cool. I'd like to do something more intricate in the future. I have another controller that I'd like to do a simple paint job on, but for now, this was a good start. This was just as much as it was, my first video for the channel. It was first video in general that I've made in a really long time, and so I'm kind of getting back into the swing of things with all the editing and all of the filming and sort of the feeling of it all, getting used to talking to the camera a little bit. So I appreciate that you guys, whoever you are, sat through and actually watched this video. That's really nice. This is my first video on this channel, like I said. So I appreciate the early support. So please leave a like if you enjoyed the content, enjoyed my speaking for some reason, or if you want to see more stuff like this, project-based stuff, something more intricate, leave down in the comments what you think. And please subscribe so that you can see the next video that I put out, which will hopefully be soon after this one. And hit that notification bell, because then you actually get a notification on your phone or wherever you are when it actually drops, when the video drops. But anyway, enough of my talking. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video, I guess.